I can make you a co-host.
Um, yeah, so the ATAs have been good. They've continued to get better. One thing that you guys notice, we never have vendors here, or very rarely do we have vendors here, because that's exactly what we're trying not to do. It's supposed to be just agents teaching each other. Okay, I thought I had another one. There we are. So yeah, just agents teaching each other. So we need more ideas. We need more thoughts. We need more suggestions, and we are recording them now and posting them.
Can I interject?
Yeah.
And I don't want to bring up another brokerage, but I chaired the Building Champions at NP Dodge for about 3 years. And I've got a whole host of ideas I can share if you're interested.
Yeah.
And that was the same concept. We didn't even allow managers to come. It was just all agents getting together, talking about, and we'd have guest speakers. You know, I don't know if you've already done stuff, but just how to get creative, like in multiple offers. How to successfully hold an open house. Yeah, I can share some topics with you if y'all would like.
We would love
Yeah.
that, and that's what this whole forum is about. Is doing that right now. And even, you know, the thing is, Angie, that, you know, we've done focusing on things like multiple offers, but that changes all the time. Like what a multiple offer was 2 years ago and what it looks like now are completely different. What it's going to look like in February, March of next year,
Right.
you know, if you don't have some new tools in your toolkit, you know, it's difficult, like to pull that stuff out of a hat. So we hopefully, you know, many of us pull from, and I'm sure you do too, pull from lots of sources that are outside of, you know, you can be part of this small environment where everybody knows the same tricks, or you can go outside of that, or you can go outside of what they go outside of, and start to bring all those things back to each other. And that's actually what our goal is to be kind of ahead of the strategy game, as far as things that are going to improve not just our business but ourselves. So I love that you have things to offer. Yes.
Yeah, and Angie, I'm sure like some of those things you just mentioned, those are on our list as well. But I'm sure your list probably has some things we haven't thought about.
Yeah.
You know, we're starting to do videos and recordings and training that is as basic as how to open a lockbox. Because we realize, as funny as that is, we realize there's a lot of people out there that when they're brand new agents, nobody showed them. And, you know, and we've had in our instances here where an agent is at the front door and they're like, oh my God, I don't know how to use this thing. So sounds crazy, but so all sorts of training. But yeah, with the ATAs, we have had some like that and we'll continue with it.
Well, Carol, when this is all said and done, I'll just email you over the topics we all had throughout. I didn't do it in 2020, but in 2019, I can send you over the topics we had.
Absolutely.
Just to give you some brainstorming ideas.
Yeah. That's absolutely fantastic. The other piece that I really personally need, because I'm kind of the one that makes a lot of the phone calls, and is I want to know you know, I know agents and I know skills. I'm always looking for the heart of everybody, but I don't know every agent in this company, and I don't know all the gifts and talents that everybody has brought to the company. And so what we actually would love to have from all of you is for you to, you know, tell us like, wow, you should really have, like I got an email this morning from Raquel Alvers, and she said, you really should have Trace Burkhart talk about condos because she's really, really good at it. Like that's the kind of stuff I need to know. I don't know what, you know, everybody's specialty or things that they're really good at or that they're willing to share. And so we need that from you. And, you know, these agent teaching agents are for all of us. These aren't for just me or for Tim or.
So that's been one of the things that we haven't done a good job asking you guys for, is to watch each other and identify when one of your colleagues does something really great that you think that they should share. And if you don't want to ask them, ask us to ask them. Just tell us. We'll say, hey, we hear you're really good at this. Would you be willing to share? Because there's so many things that people are like, I'm really good at something really small, but really bad at other things. Like I want to keep sharing these really good ideas. And it's not always as big as a buyer's presentation or a listing presentation or something. Sometimes it's a small little piece. I think what I would like to know, since this is we're winging it ATA, for those, we actually have a pretty good crowd. I would love for some people to chime in and tell us what their favorite ATAs were and why. Mostly because that's just going to show what stood out for you. Because we're constantly trying to figure out what sticks, what do people like, what do people. I'll go on. When Aubrey Hess does an ATA, it's through the roof. When Tom Simmons does an ATA, it's through the roof. There are certain things that we know are going to bring people to the yard, but we want to keep growing that. And we want to, the nice thing about this Zoom ATAs, when we had the ATAs in person, we would have 5, 6, and if it was a good one, we'd have 30 or 40. The ATAs on Zoom have been fantastic. And so we want to keep this momentum and know what's working. So yeah, so if you guys could raise your hands and let us know what's been your favorite ATAs and why.
Yeah, or unmute your, okay, Sarah.
Okay, so mine have been the ones that have like real life application use. So like Aubrey, and I know Ben's done one. There was a panel with like Ben and April and Jen Winder. I think that was like last year sometime, but it was about working with like buyers and then like bad buyer situations. So like stuff like that where it really helps in my business for like those random one-offs that I may not experience, but like fear experiencing someday. And that just like calms me and makes me feel better, like moving on. So just hearing that kind of stuff and just that like real life application of like what may come up really teaches me.
Favorite that you saw this year?
So this year,
Yeah.
I think Aubrey's, because I was dealing with a couple buyers who have gotten really discouraged in the market, and that like came at like the most beautiful time. And I was like, okay, we've got even some more stuff, guys. So that really helps, because that's been the hardest for me this year, is working with buyers. So
Yeah.
Good.
Okay. Great.
Somebody else share one of their favorite ATAs or one that stood out? April.
Yeah, I've got one. It was my very first ATA that I ever attended back 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago when I joined the brokerage. And to this day, it's made the biggest difference is Jonathan O'Gorman's farming.
The farming,
ATA.
Yeah.
I don't think he's done another one since that one that I attended back 2 years ago. And I think that maybe pulling another one of those out, or maybe getting a panel of people who do them, but do them differently, and bringing people in like, I don't know if you guys can you guys hear that? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But bringing people in like down at the Gold Coast office, Jessica Walker and what's her name? Jen.
Yeah.
I just lost it.
Yeah. Jennifer Waxberg.
Yeah, Jennifer Waxberg. So she's got a really cool system that she taught me using envelopes with bulk mail, which I had no idea you could do. That was so eye-opening. So now I've completely restructured the way I do my database mailers. So maybe bringing in a few different perspectives from different agents on the farming side of things. That was a huge one.
Okay. Great.
Cool. This is turning out to be great.
Yeah. Next. Amy, what did you like? Amy Stewart.
I liked a lot of them. I would agree with, I'm not sure who said it, but the real life application ones.
Sarah.
Actually, I really liked April Tucker. She shared things that I think it was called like My Greatest Mistakes. I got a lot out of that. She was so vulnerable and transparent about things that had gone right and wrong. And everybody has had those situations. And it was a small group of us, but it was really rich, robust conversation that came from it. So I really liked that one, but I like them all. I mean, I get something from all of them, but I think the real life ones really resonate with me.
Well, you'll be happy to know that on November 12th, April Tucker is going to lead the ATA on the 10 best things that she learned this year.
Good.
So, yeah,
awesome.
We're going to actually have a spotlight probably every month on some agents who've really done a good job of refining their business into something that has made them either top producers or on the way to being top producers, and just the same format that Aubrey did. So April is this month, and next month is Next month is Kim and Matt Bills.
Oh,
Um,
great. That's gonna be good.
I think it's the second week in December that I've got them. Then they're going to just talk about a double dose of success and what it takes to do that. So
Yeah, I mean, one thing really quick before we go on, I've realized is that one of the things that's already standing out is that people really like to hear what others' mistakes are. You know, learning from other people's mistakes, learning the real life stuff, and that does. It just totally makes sense.
and I think you can do like part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4,
Yeah.
part 5. You can just keep on going with the biggest mistakes. So
So okay, cool. Who
Okay.
else?
hey, Mary Jane, you're in a lot. You just raised your hand. You attend a lot. So give us a.
First of all, I've got 2 dogs behind me that are wrestling. So if you hear them, I apologize.
All right.
And who would believe we're sitting outside at this date in
I
the
know,
year?
I know.
But anyway, I really like, obviously the application ones, but the ones I really get a lot out of are the ones that show us some different types of verbiage that we can put on our contracts.
Dialogue.
Those are huge.
Yeah.
I actually used it last night on a contract. Didn't get it, but used it with the escalation clauses and stuff.
Okay.
Those are
Yeah.
huge, huge. If anything, it just kind of helps protect us legally
Mhm.
and helps us think through the process a little bit better, from A to Z. So those I get huge out of. And the other thing that has helped me tremendously, and I think it was either Ben or Jonathan that did the presentations on the buyer and listing presentations. I
Mhm.
use both of those in my business religiously, and especially the buyer presentations, nixes so many issues along the way that I would not probably start. It'd be rare that I would start a new buyer without doing some sort of buyer's presentation first.
That's great.
Just huge. So
All of
anything like that.
All of these are ending up in our library, and Tim and I will talk a little bit more about what we've been working on for the past 6 months and kind of something that you guys can be looking forward to next year. But I think you're going to be really happy with the resource, just the resource building that we've been working on based on you. You guys are giving it to us. You're
And Zoom has really helped us. It's transformed us. We're recording these. And so we're starting to basically do what we can to turn these into a library.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
Can I just say thank you for allowing us all to attend Apex this year?
Oh,
I tried to I'll never probably get invited to go to something like that. And so I tried to take advantage of as many of those workshops as I could.
That's great.
They were awesome.
Mhm.
Good.
That luxury thing, if I ever get one luxury listing, I would be extremely thankful. But that was so cool just to see, what the different things are. And there was some really good information that you could apply to your everyday listings. So just thank you for that opportunity.
I'm glad to hear you say that. And Tom was the one that, and he's on the call listening. He's the one that pulled the trigger on that and said, let's do it for the whole company. So he deserves
it. Was awesome. It was awesome. Thank you.
Sheila Gates is raising her hand.
Yeah, Sheila.
I am. Hang on. Hey, I'm in my car. Sorry. I would love to see something on how to fight a low appraisal.
I low appraisal. Okay.
Oh,
yes.
yeah.
Maybe I've missed it. I'm usually attending the ATAs, and I don't think that you've done something like that. But I would love to see people who have been successful in doing it and what their approach is.
We have not had an ATA on that.
No, we have not. But who would be good at that? Like, who on this call knows that they would something they're really, have done? And
Neil Gallus. Neil Gallus
So
has done it several times.
I reached out to Neil, who is now on the lending side, because I knew that he had fought a lot of appraisals. So when I had one, I did reach out to him. But I'd love to have other input on how people approach it and what they do.
I can think of agents. We'd love to have their names.
Steve Solovek even though he's new to the business, he's killing it. And I know he's had to fight a few appraisals.
Mhm.
And he sent me over one time the breakdown he did to fight this appraisal, and it blew my mind. The detail he
Actually,
went to in this thing.
You're right, Tim. I saw that. as well, and he is.
So he'd definitely be worth talking to.
Okay.
And then
Panel.
who else for fight? Oh, yeah, she may say no, but Carla Okrina, she has fought so many low appraisals,
Oh, I wouldn't.
and
want to
she's
fight
a
her.
little bulldog. So we could, I
Yeah.
think we could have a panel and get some
Okay.
tidbits. So we can continue that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Thanks for this
Appreciate it.
suggestion, Sheila. Sheila, did you like anything especially this year? She's gone. Okay. So who's next?
Did you say something to me, Carol?
I just said, was there any ATA that you especially liked this year? Because you were on a lot of them.
I agree with hearing what people's mistakes are, because sometimes when you get on an ATA and you see all these people who do all these things so fantastically, which is great, but sometimes you're like, oh man, I have so much to do.
Yeah.
It's nice to hear what people's mistakes are and how they learn from them, and
Okay.
because we're all going to run into them at some point. So I do appreciate those as well.
Okay. Krista, you got something?
Gina.
Oh, Gina, there, raised your hand. Okay.
Okay. I really appreciated the one where Tom brought on, I'm not sure what his relationship is to the company, but the legal counsel, when we were going, the specific part about having a lawyer on when we were talking about escalation clauses.
Mhm.
I just think it's great whenever we can get more in-depth instruction about the fact that we are actually not lawyers, but we are in the environment of contract law every single day.
Right.
So I just think it's really great to continue to give us those opportunities to speak directly to lawyers.
Okay.
Cool.
Any particular topics that you'd like to see us have a lawyer address?
Well, actually, I thought about that, and I thought it would be great, literally, like just to kind of, I mean, if I had my wish list, it would be just to take the contract like a couple paragraphs at a time. Like this week, this month we'll do it maybe a couple times a year or 3 times a year. Just
And
divide
we could
it up.
always have pick your real estate lawyer's brain
Yeah,
ATA. And
yeah,
that would be full very fast. I mean, an hour would be full very fast.
yeah, yes, it
So,
would.
yeah, that's a great suggestion. Thank you, Gina.
You
Yeah.
bet.
Yeah. Okay. Who's next?
Anybody else?
April, were you raising your hand or were you flying?
No, I have a thought
Right.
on,
Yeah. Oh,
no, I had a thought on topics that could be useful. And I used to teach it over at Nebraska Realty, and it could be a good one for over here. And that's how to utilize RPR in your daily business.
Oh, yeah.
I just taught it for the team this last week, and I think it was very valuable and
Right.
it really tied into low appraisals and fighting low appraisals and how that can be a good resource for it.
You were
Okay.
absolutely right.
that
Thank you.
actually is
RPR,
fantastic.
we had a live ATA on RPR probably 4 years ago. It is
Yeah.
long overdue.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It is long overdue. Thank you. I actually last year, before we were doing these on Zoom, I don't know if you remember this, Tim, but I tried to get the the RPR agent, again, the representative, and she wanted to do it on webinar, and we didn't want to do a webinar then. We were like, nah, it's only in person. We can only do this in person. So look how things have changed in a year.
That is funny.
Yeah.
Well, at the same
That would be
token,
great.
we've also talked about how people still, no matter how much we talk about Pinpoint, it's intimidating.
Yeah.
And we talked about having some, like a panel of people or a few people agents who actively do it. And then maybe even in the ATA, show us as they go through it and do an actual marketing campaign. So Pinpoint. Yes, Mary Jane.
Along those same lines, HomeSnap is also a good
Yeah.
one to do something with. I've been kind of kicking that around a little bit, and my client, the few that use it, really like it.
I've been using HomeSnap this past probably year, at least a year. And as soon as I get a new client, and we do a lot of out of state clients, as absolutely, just the minute I get them, I connect them with that, and they are loving, absolutely love it. And the local buyers as well, they love using that, and it's so easy, and I don't lose them to Zillow or to some of
Right.
the other places where they kind of fall into a, into a big black hole, and then I don't, and they send me this stuff and I'm like, oh my God, this is so random and it's so old. So connecting people immediately as soon as I get off the phone, and I tell them before I even hang up the phone, I'm gonna send this to you, just connect to it, and then I give them a response back.
Well, and when you get into the intricacies of it, you can
Yeah.
learn a lot of details that clients, I want a listing, a potential listing because of knowing, and she's like, how did you know all of that? And it
Yeah.
was all because of stuff I found on HomeSnap.
Right.
So,
It's really it's got a ton of information.
mhm.
Carol, along those lines, it might be a good idea too. I don't know if this would be kind of like an ongoing ATA, but to take a client from the moment, like a buyer, it's like a 10-step, I don't know what the steps would be, but like a 10-step program. Okay, the first thing, like step one, you meet the client. How do how does Mary Jane approach it versus say Sarah, for example? And what do you do? Like I set them up on HomeSnap, or I set them up on a search, or what is your initial buyer presentation, or what are the steps that you do
Right. Immediately.
on a buyer or a seller,
Yeah.
and then kind of move it into step two. So like on a selling side, I think a good one would be, how do people do different market analysis? You know what I mean?
You said it right.
Yeah.
Analysis.
Because how you do them in Midtown versus West Omaha is completely different, but maybe just kind of finding out how much information do you really give a seller in a presentation, and how deep do you go? Like I go pretty deep before I actually meet with my sellers,
Mhm.
just kind of for that same reason, Mary Jane, where it's like, I want to know more information than you need to know so that I can be the person that is putting their money where their mouth is, if you will. But it might be kind of cool to take each side of the buying and the selling side and saying, okay, there's potentially, I don't know, 6 or 8 or 10 parts, and say, okay, this is what these people do when they first meet a buyer, and this is how they get them set up.
Mhm.
Then this is what we do at the market analysis on the selling side. And this is what I do to market my listings. This is what I do to market myself. And maybe just kind of, throw these kind of like maybe in the year 2021.
Yeah.
Kind of just
Yeah.
break it down from the beginning to the closing. And then what do you do after the closing, and just kind of see what different people do at different stages.
Kind of the birth of a buyer, like,
I love that.
Yeah. Well, you'll be happy to know, all of you will be happy to know that we are already in the process. Tim and I are already in the process of building the training library for mentees and new agents. And we already have 4 videos in the hatch that are the buyer interview, the seller interview, the doing a buyer presentation, doing a seller presentation, doing a CMA. And we're going to have it done by several different agents. Right now, we're building it with a few agents, but
So don't be afraid when we ask you guys
yeah,
to record something for us.
we just want you to do like a 30-40 minute recording. And then like you can go and say, okay, I want to see a buyer presentation by, well, we have by Krista Luther actually has done our first buyer presentation, which is fantastic. I mean, writing a purchase contract. And Ben Schmale's has done the buyer interview. And so you'd go and you'd see theirs, and then you can go see somebody else's as well. So it's perfect, Raquel, with exactly what you're asking for. Only I really like the kind of the birth of a buyer. What do you do? What are the steps for the transaction?
Well, I think it's important. It kind of reminds me, it's like just dealing with my kids in class right now. And it's like that last 3 weeks of any class, especially like history class, when the teacher would say to you, like, remember when we learned this, and they put everything that you learned up on the board, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, all of this was happening at the same time. And you don't look at things as individual components. You see how everything's interconnected. And
Right.
I think, I don't know. I just think there's a lot to be said for, it's kind of like the whole, like, well, I sent out a mailer saying I'm in real estate. Well, they didn't do anything. You got to connect it to this, and you got to connect it to the phone call, and
random. It's that random. Okay, this month I'm going to do a farming, but next month, no, I don't want to do it. You have to have consistency. And how do you set that up to start with is what you're saying.
And I think if you have if you get a picture of the whole picture, like, I hate to say this, but like make up like these are our 3 fake buyers, and let's follow them through the process over the next 4 or 5 months and see how different people would handle different things, and kind of give them like a fake buyer just so you have real life experiences. But I think it's important to visualize the whole concept from beginning to end. I mean, you don't know how to get to Denver if you don't look at a map and like plan it out. You don't just show up one day and say, I'm going to Denver.
Yeah, right.
That's happened. You've done that. I'm going to Denver.
Well, unless you're stoned and you just keep driving. No.
Close your eyes.
Yeah, you're going to the right place in Denver.
All right, exactly. You're going to the right place. No, I think that'd be good on like the buying and the selling side. I know just through the years I've seen like presentations that various people have done either locally or nationally, and it's like anything, you take what you get from it. But I think it's important, and a lot of people have said this already. I've picked up some great verbiage from other agents and used that or twisted it to sound like it comes from me.
Right.
And I think even just listening to that I will say, and I've told this to somebody recently, I've been doing this 21 years. And since I came over to Better Homes, I, honest to God, think that my business has just been like reinvented just because of listening to all of you people. I mean, I really do. I just, and you get into a rut after so many years, like, what new are you going to teach me? Well,
and it's a different, I think we have and I think we started off this way too, is we have a different mindset. And the mindset is if I share how well I do something with you, it's going to make you do even better. And when we all do better, then nobody's competing against each other. We're lifting each other up, which, it's the same basic premise about how you make anything successful. So
I remember there was a national CE speaker. I can't remember. He was really good. He's amazing. And he even said, he was like sharing all of this information with people, like, go, I'm going to give you all of my flyers. I'm going to give you all of this. And he got 10 minutes into it. He goes, do you know why I'm giving all of this to you for free? He goes, I'm not charging you for it. He goes, write it down. I'll email it to you. He goes, you know why? Because you're not going to do it.
You're not going to do it. Exactly.
There's 150 people in this room, and I guarantee less than 5 of you will do it. And I was like, and here it is 10, 15 years later. I'm like, yeah, I never did it.
Yeah, exactly. It's when you go away to a 2-day conference, we always come back with, this whole huge pile of like all of these incredible ideas. But really what I'm always headed for is how do I get better from those 2 days? Because then I'm going to do those.
At 402.
Hey, Gina has a question.
7304.
Yes, I wondered if we could repeat the name of the agent that did, I guess, sometime back on farming. Was it Jonathan Gorman?
Yeah, Jonathan O'Gorman.
Yep.
And how do you spell Jonathan's first name? Because I've had trouble finding him.
It's Jon. I think there's no A in it. Jonathan.
Yeah, I get confused. It's a different.
It's spelled differently than.
Okay, that explains it then.
It's O apostrophe Gorman.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, it's Jon. Well, wait a second. Eden just popped in here. Johnathan.
That's funny.
Okay, that explains my trouble.
Yeah, it's like the name John and then Uthan. Yeah, because my son-in-law's name is Jon. Uthan. Okay, who else? That's been in on a lot of these. Nancy Keene, I like your opinion about things. You there?
Yes, I just turned my mute on. Sorry.
All right, it's okay.
I love these A-to-As. I try not to miss them. Every time, every subject, I gain a little bit more information that I feel just helps polish me a little bit more. So there's never a bad topic in my book.
Did you have a favorite this year?
I think one of my favorites was Tom had a lot of talk about the multiple offers and some of the verbiage that he offered. That was very helpful to me and some that I had not thought about.
Great. What about, for all of you, what about some of the guests that we've had in this last year? I know we've gotten incredible feedback on them. Particularly, I think the one we got the most feedback on is Barbara Betts from Long Beach, California. And she's, I mean, she is a teacher and a trainer, and she's probably done 1,000 hours this year on Zoom. And she's an NAR speaker, and she's I mean, she speaks a lot, and she's really gotten very good at what she does, and plus helping people with social media. So that was, I'd say of all the outside ones that I was able to get this year, I really probably got the most from hers, just because it was something that I was really looking to get really better at. So what about you guys?
My favorite, so the one that stands out to me, I shouldn't say it was my favorite, was the pop buys, Peggy Uriff.
Oh yeah,
I
Peggy.
loved
Yeah.
her pop buy ideas, but it was her other marketing ideas, the other things she does. She just, it really impressed me. By the way, you guys, you can go, and a lot of these ATAs, at least the last 2 months, have been recorded. So
they're on our
they're on our YouTube page. So
I love Greg Mitchell when he comes.
Yeah.
The local guys. I mean, Greg Mitchell is like a wealth of information. I wouldn't even mind. And then I think it was one of the last ones we did in person with ServPro. I didn't go to it, but Dad did. And because of that, we called him, and I've referred business to him like 3 times this year. So it wouldn't be bad to have maybe some local vendors that, you know, industries that we use a lot, and have them.
Yes and no. Yes, that's a great idea, but we have to find other ways to get them in the door, because we only have 52 weeks with ATAs. And our goal was always to try to keep it to just agents. However, we have gone outside of that. The whole, Greg Mitchell's not a realtor. Well, like he might be, but anyway, so it's like we have to find creative ways of getting what you say, like our favorite vendors, being able to let them in the door. On the other hand, we don't want it to be a sales pitch.
What if during the meeting, since we're recording the meetings now, you have a vendor do a little recording? I know, like in the board magazine, a couple of the inspectors or the radon people will do kind of just a little bit like, hey, this is what radon means, or this is what, to look for with a grounded outlet, or just, little tidbits of information. And maybe we could do like a vendor spotlight, and they could do like a 2-3 minute video.
That's a great idea, and that is actually the direction we're kind of going. It does allow them to get in front of us, but
and I'm not looking to like promote any vendor, just the information and how to handle this, or what is this.
They bring real content to us, real value.
Hey Tim, you and I can talk about it, but vendor tips, like if we do some minute tip from a vendor, but they have to come at us the same way that we, that kind of our culture approaches. The approach needs to be from I'm going to provide you value, and
something of value.
By me providing you value, you will see the value in how I can serve you. And that translates to, I want you to represent me for this particular piece of business. So yeah. And there was a vendor that came in and abused that. And, it always happens. But we've gotten over that now. I think that's been long enough that we've gotten over it. And so I think that is something, it's maybe a little, a moment of clarity on some of those things, because there are.
And I agree with everything you're saying. Hey, Angie's got her hand raised.
Angie. You're muted. You're muted. Okay.
Hi. I had to go to my phone. I don't know what happened. My computer just lost internet. Anyhow, I thought maybe I would just propose this. What we had done at the past at another brokerage was we gave the first 5, maybe 10 minutes to a vendor, and they only got to do their, like you said, an item of value for the agents. Of course, this was all pre-COVID, and they would supply lunch as well when we did it all in person. But then at least they could have a handout or a PDF that they could put up on Zoom, but just something. Back in the day, I swear, pre-COVID, when they supplied lunch, you had so many people come. So you feed them, they will come.
Yeah.
And then just one other idea that we had, if it's not really an outside vendor, but we had Denise from the board come and talk about a lot of tips and tricks on how to use Paragon and things I didn't even know. It was a really good one. That was an hour and a half long.
That's
Actually, you are right, because we would love some brush ups on Paragon, and
yeah.
there's quite a bit of details that we could go over. So.
Yeah, we don't do as much of that as we probably should. So yeah, that's a very good idea, actually. Man, this is some great ideas.
And by the way, NP Dodge is not a dirty word. We can say it. We all came from, a lot of us came from somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
10
They were
years,
good
10
places.
years there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's all part of our history.
Yeah,
I
hear you.
respect them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I say something real fast?
Yes. Anybody
Yeah.
can say yes.
I think that we oftentimes have a lot of the same agents who present, throughout the course of the year. And I think that's really wonderful. And there's a lot of really great stuff to be shared. But I'm glad that Nancy Keene jumped on here, because one of the things that I've said, a couple of times over the last year is she's got this really incredible background in graphic design that, she's able to make these really amazing flyers and have these really cool things that she does with all of that. I'd love to maybe hear something from, somebody like Nancy, who has a background in marketing and a background in design and a background in all of that. I think there's a lot to be learned from that. I also think Ryan Renner would be a really great resource as far as, how he does his drip campaigns and how he runs the whole internet side of his business and the cold calling and the cold leads and all of that. I think he'd be a real wealth of information too. And there's several other people too, but just, kind of thinking outside the box on some of those topics.
Keep naming them.
April, send us a list. I mean, talk about people that I want you guys, because like I said, I don't know everybody's like what they do. I do know I'd love to have Ryan Renner, and I hadn't thought about him for a while. Excuse me. But yes,
I agree. I would love to hear what some of those other people are doing.
Yeah.
Kim Bills. I'd love to hear how Kim Bills came up with the idea of her Popeye creation that she does through Etsy. It's the simplest idea in the world. Create Popeye tags that people can download and they can purchase from you. It's brilliant. And she has this way of thinking outside the box of, having kind of passive streams of income involving helping other agents. It's brilliant. I'd love to learn more.
She is leading, she and Bill are leading the ATA on the second week in December. So bring that question, and we'll ask her. Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey,
for an ATA that we were like, oh crap, we have nothing to talk about. This is wildly positive.
I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning thinking, oh my God, what are we gonna talk about? What are we gonna do? And I had about 1,000 ideas, and then I just kept coming back to this, like, let's just talk. Like, let's just visit and talk. And
like, it's great.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, what any other thoughts or ideas? I think we've got some really good ones here. I do like when people mention other agents that are really good at things. We can tackle talking to them and convincing them to do it. That's fine. You don't have to nominate them. Just bringing it to our attention that they're really good at something,
Yeah, and then just let me go after them, or Tim.
Yeah.
Who can say no to us?
They do.
Well, and I think that this format has proven that you don't have to be perfect, and it's something that we just talk to each other. It's no different than visiting with people in the office or in your living room or on the patio for another few days. And that's why we are who we are. So I love this. Hey, Andy, are you paying attention? You want to talk to us about what you've liked this year? I see your little name up here a lot.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to Andy. But Andy's not there, just his name is up there.
Huh. Yeah.
Who else? Yeah, fly. Yeah. So what else would you guys like to see?
Have you guys ever considered doing like small accountability groups? You know, of maybe break off type of deals from ATAs where maybe you have, you know, a group of, you know,
Breakout room?
agents that are single agents running their own business that kind of get together once a month or whatnot, just to brainstorm, or maybe a group of like, you know, admins that get together, or a group of team leads that get together or whatnot, but just some sort of smaller break off of ATA brainstorming accountability groups.
Would you like that?
I would love that personally.
Okay. So are you seeing those as, so like when Tim and I are on, we both have the same professional coach, and he has group meetings once a month, and then we break off into Zoom breakout rooms. Is that what you're talking about? Or are you talking
Yeah.
about separate accountability groups that meet on their own monthly or bi-monthly?
Yeah, I guess either way, you know, it's just it's something that they did back over at Nebraska Realty that, you know, I think a lot of agents took advantage of. It's something I got kind of into back then, and it could just be really good collaboration with agents that are all kind of tracking at the same level in their business, pulling ideas off of what they're doing to, you know, propel themselves forward, like little mini coaching sessions.
Yeah,
with a group of
like
like-minded people,
a group of team leaders, a group of
brand new agents or
brand
whatnot.
new- yeah, we actually do have a program for the group of brand new agents that will be rolling out very quickly, very soon, and that also ties in with our the Grow Room Academy that we're building. So we have that already in place. But I would love to talk to you more about maybe developing. Let's start with one. Let's start with one, and I'll talk with you about it, and maybe we can get something going.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
And any other ones that you guys would like a focus on, like a group? Tim, we were just talking about this. A group of people who do investments. That's what they do in real estate. Is they do investments, to do flips, and like what Paulina and Andy have. You know, they belong to those kind of groups, and there's people that are really, really good at just, you know, that focus, or investment properties. And so yeah, you're kind of tracking on the same place, but just more specific. So that's good.
Yeah, we're all moving in the same direction. That's great.
Yeah. Sheila has your hand up. Sheila, go.
Okay, so I got back in the office and I was looking through my notes from different ATAs, and one that I found really helpful, and I took like 4 pages of notes from, was Leslie's in September, when she did the top 50 or 75 people in your database and had all the different ideas on how to tag them and reach out to them and just really focus on them to build your pipeline for next year.
Yeah.
She had done that one before, and I always get so much out of it. And I almost wonder if maybe it couldn't be broken down into a few different sessions and deep dive a little bit more into some of the different ideas that she has.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Great idea.
Hey, Carol, on that note, I know what you're talking. That was awesome. The one that Jackie Bostwick did during COVID, where she gave you something to do each week.
Oh yeah.
That was like a combination of what, I mean, I got to the point where part of me was a little overwhelmed because I couldn't keep up with it. But that was amazing. Both of what those guys did and what they provided. I like literally put them in a whole email so that if I didn't get to them, I could, which reminds me, I need to go back and finish some of those, but.
So it was like the weekly accountability that we started in several different directions during
Plus, like what you're doing, like you sent out that note card, like what you can do. I think it's just, you know, we all know we should write a note, but like when you send it out and go, hey, send a note out to the person that whatever, and you're like, oh, that's a good idea. And so you know, if you have time, you just do it right then.
Yeah.
So that's those things that I love, those like what Leslie had done and what Jackie and what you're doing. I love all that stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, it's fun. And it makes me have to think too. So I kind of sometimes do these things so that it makes me have to be responsible to think and do something. I've written some pretty powerful personal notes this week that I not necessarily wanted to write, but I kind of forced myself because I'll do what I ask other people to do. So yeah. Great. Anybody else here?
I'm trying to unblock Tom because he has something to say.
Where is he? Oh, here he is.
He texted me and said, "Can you unmute me?"
I just said ask. It just says ask to unmute. Unmute
Yeah.
audio. It doesn't unmute from.
Sorry, sir. Don't know how to do it. Think I'd have to do it on your end.
Do it yourself.
It's on the user's end.
Unmute. Nope, won't do it.
Well, I think now we need to implement some of these. I mean, we need to talk, we started to put things in order. What's the next ATA, Carol, next week?
Well, let me tell you. The date today, 5th?
Yep.
The 12th, that's April. April Tucker.
Oh, that's right.
Spotlight on her top 10 tips from 2020 or whatever she wants to talk about. Part 2, mistakes.
You can do a part 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I could just keep going.
Latest mistakes I'm probably going to make next year.
Yep, over and over. You think you'd learn eventually.
That's how we learn is, yeah. And then the 19th is
Queen of mistakes.
The 19th, which is usually our agents, feeding agents, we're not going to be doing that, but we have a couple of other. We're going to be about gratitude this month and giving outside of ourselves. And I know we have the blood drive going and the coat drive and
Toys for Tots.
And Toys for Tots that we're participating in. And then you'll be getting something within the next day or so that we're going to try, and also because of our partnership with Abide 712 and the families, we're going to try and feed as many families as we can for $50, $49.95. Hy-Vee provides a dinner for 4, a turkey or a ham dinner for 4. So we're going to see how many of those we can do and give away. We'll give them to the organizations that know who those families are, identify them. And some of those people that are essential workers that have been working their butts off this last year to try and keep our lives going, who need just a little bit of help with their own families. So because it's been a good year for many of us, most of us in real estate this year, we're still standing and we're still growing. I think the best way to be appreciative about that is to bless somebody else. So whatever you can do, I've set up a GoFundMe account, and Audra will be putting together something. We'll be sending it out to you. So, and you can also take this and put it on your Facebook and send it out to your clients and your friends and family. And whatever we do, we have a goal, but we'll figure out how to reach that and reach as many families as possible. So, so between toys, coats, food, blood, I think it's going to be a good month of taking care of other people. So.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So that will be on the third Thursday. We're just going to get together on another one of these calls, and we'll tell you what the format's going to be then, and we'll want to share it all with you. So, and then the last Thursday is Thanksgiving, which I don't know what that's going to look like this year, but it's still Thanksgiving. And then into December, we've got some good things planned in December too. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And anything else that you guys think of, please feel free to text Tim or myself or both of us. I think Tim and I are going to get an email together, the Tim and Carol at Better Omaha, because we have so many things that we do together here. So yeah, so text us or send us an email, and we're going to take all of these suggestions and put them all together. And hopefully next year we have another just dynamic calendar for agents teaching agents and everything else that we do because of you. We couldn't do all this without you guys. So
now, you know what we've done in the years end. Have we done anything at goal setting for 2021? Have we done an ATA for that?
We usually do. And
in December? Like,
yes.
Ready for 2020?
Leslie and I talked about that.
We'll get that on the calendar for 2021, something to make sure that goal setting
it might even be in January that we,
okay.
We do it, but it depends. We've got some things set up already, so we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think we've kind of worn everybody out, even though we have 7 minutes left. I think we've run
Okay.
out the clock.
That's
So
all
I
right.
think
Yeah.
that turned out to be a great ATA. I think we've got a lot
Yeah.
of good notes, and that'll help make 2021 even better.
Thank you
So,
guys so much. Appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks
Good.
guys. See y'all later.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.